INS Hansa manages both civilian and naval air traffic every day. Over the last 6 decades, this naval airbase increased its operations multifold, operating 44 types of military aircraft. The station also supports civil aviation by handling domestic and international flights 24/7, with an average of 29,000 flights in a year. 24-year-old Lieutenant Anushri Sharma is an ATC officer, a role being dominated by women at Hansa.
Lieutenant Anushri Sharma, you would be the youngest officer that I'm meeting at INS Hansa. How has your journey been and what is this role that you are?
I joined Hansa in 2020 as a young sub-lieutenant, and it has been 2 years ever since. I would say rather eventful 2 years. It was my first posting, and a person's first posting is always close to one's heart, but I would say that Hansa has taught me a lot professionally, in my personal aspect as well, and I would say that I have grown quite a bit.
In 2 years?
In 2 years.
So what's a day like in the life of a air traffic control officer and who is also on duty?
Yeah. So as you would know that INS Hansa enclaves the civil airport also. So we handle quite a lot of mixed traffic and we are 24/7 manned. So ATC in Hansa never sleeps.
So you have learned quite a bit on job. The entire training would be on job. So 2 years would have been pretty full of events, I would say.
It has been. So the initial training we receive at Air Force Academy, Dundigal. There's a simulator there. It's like a screen. It's like a video game. And that is the basic training which we get. And then we get posted to our respective stations. So when I joined Hansa, there is a OJT period. We call that on-job training. So I'm posted here, and I have to learn the tactics, the what should I say, the peculiarities which are peculiar to this station.
And how do you explain the nature of your job to your parents or your family?
It is very difficult to do. It is very difficult because whenever my mother called me at 10 in the morning. So earlier she used to say that, "Beta, you call me, because I don't know when you will be available." So I said, "Mama, you call. If I'll be available, I'll pick up the call, or else I'll call you later," something like that. So now what she does is that she calls at random times. Whenever she gets a time, she'll call 10 in the evening, she'll got 2 in the afternoon, she called me 10 in the morning, and I'll just text, "I'm in office." She understands.
I was watching you at the ATC. You were the only woman officer there. Is it difficult being a woman officer in what clearly and visibly is a all-men terrain?
On the contrary, the ATC strength, the male to female ratio in ATC is, I would say, 1/7. So 1/7 of the total strength is male officers. So here in ATC, quite on contrary, we dominate.
With their motto of protectors beyond perception, Squadron INAS 323 was commissioned in April 2021. Lieutenant Commander Gurpreet is a pilot involved in search and rescue.
Why are you called Harriers?
Ma'am, basically it is to keep the legacy alive. And earlier Sea Harriers were placed at Goa. So it is just to keep this legacy alive that we are named as Harriers. All these big cat aircrafts like MiGs, and they fly around 60 miles, 100 miles from the sea.
And this is called Advanced Light Helicopter.
Yes.
How is this helicopter different from other helicopters then?
This helicopter is different because of the avionics on board which we have. It is state of the art. No other helicopter in Indian Navy as of now has this avionics which we have. Our daily routine starts at 7:30. We do a normal briefing here in the squadron, and all the pilots do the normal work. Which, if we are planned for flying, we'll go for flying. Otherwise, we'll stay here in the squadron. But there is one team, dedicated team for search and rescue. Example: 2 pilots and 2 divers, and the ground crew. So once the siren is sounded from the ATC and they give us the location where the ejection has happened, So they pilot rush and the aircraft is airborne in 15 minutes. In 15 minutes we go wherever the aircraft is ejected, we'll rescue the pilot and come back. So that's how it's fast it is. In 15 minutes aircraft will be airborne.
The Navy's Boeing P-8I aircraft, used for long-range maritime reconnaissance, has commenced operations from the west coast of India. Operating the Boeing P-8I, INAS 316 was commissioned in March 2022. P-8I is the latest acquisition of the Indian Navy and is defined by its unique combination of state-of-the-art sensors and proven weapon systems. The P-8I is capable of undertaking primary missions of anti-surface warfare and anti-submarine warfare. P-8I has operated from more than 32 airfields across 14 nations and 4 continents and has participated in numerous bilateral and multilateral exercises. Lieutenant Commander Deepa Singh is an air operations officer here.
Lieutenant Commander Deepa Singh, is this the biggest aircraft here in INS Hansa?
It's one of the biggest because the IL that you would have just seen, it's comparable to that. But the flying per se, it is one that's in the lead.
And this is INAS 316.
316, yes.
And its latest acquisition is Boeing P-8I.
The Boeing manufactures the P-8 series of the same military version of Boeing 737-800. And the one that they deliver to the international navies is the one that is P-8I International. So which is the one that we have bought from US.
And what makes it so unique and different?
So a lot of times the aircraft that Indian Navy had, they were limited to either the maritime role, that is the reconnaissance role, or the pure anti-submarine role. But this is one of the first which is able to do both. It is a long-range maritime reconnaissance as well as an anti-submarine warfare aircraft.
And you have seen, I'm sure, I've been interacting with lots of women officers, and they have several stories to share. And particularly the idea of being a women officer, flying and managing such big birds.
Yeah. So my story goes back from 2015 when I joined the Indian Navy as a SSC officer. I gave my SSB and then I got recommended, and subsequently I joined the Indian Navy. I belong to Jaipur and I never thought of joining Indian Navy. However, when the opportunity came in front of me, I grabbed it, and glad I did it because my journey till now has been 7 years and it has been very fulfilling.
But interestingly, you are in aviation in Indian Navy.
Indian Navy, yes.
So how difficult is it for you to explain it to your family?
It is quite uncommon for a lot of Indians to understand in the first go that, okay, you are in Indian Navy, but into the flying cadre, because they see Navy only with ships. They see Army only as the land army, and Air Force definitely with the flights. So when I say I'm into aviation, they really don't comprehend that Navy has an aviation arm. So initially I had to explain them a lot that I'm not in Air Force, I am in Navy, into the aviation cadre. But subsequently, since people, they know me, and I was able to explain them what I do exactly.
Tell us about your first experience when you went to one of those areas.
So I went with one of my seniors, and he was commanding the mission. So a lot of ground preparation is required whenever we fly. It is not something that you can wake up in the morning and come on, let's go for a sortie, just see how it's happening there. No. So a lot of ground preparations. As I mentioned, knowing your enemy is what is important, because you can never be at the back foot. Whenever you are in air, you have to give it. There is no other option rather than giving your best.
From the pandemic to natural calamities to responding to security situations, INS Hansa is ready for each and every operation for India round the clock.